Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 739 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. I do want to say to everybody this morning, welcome back. We already got a special member on the board, I see. It's Derpy. What's up, Derpy? How you doing, brother? And also Jen. She says this jam gets me going every time I hear it. Welcome back, Jen. Welcome back, Derpy. Glad to see everybody.
Yes.
A lot of things. Oh, my God, a lot of things to talk about today. Well, as the doors are opening, let's just talk about this real quick, Mike. The the Pennsylvania House advances the weed bill we talked about on Tuesday. It was the fastest it ever went from the first step to the second step. So then it went on to the third step. And that was yesterday, and it passed with ease, apparently.
Nice.
So it seems to me that they're pushing. Hey, John, what's up on the board? He says Derpy did not get euthanized. But Mike, it looks like we're getting weed finally.
Finally, and well done for your state. Well done for the.
It only took. I mean, it's only been 10 years since everybody started doing it. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now John can move up to here to Pittsburgh to enjoy the Steelers, and he can have his weed too. So everybody wins.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. You guys got to get with the times. Ohio, my great state. We just got it last year. We're we're trendsetters, baby.
Yeah. If Ohio's if anybody's a trendsetter, it's Ohio.
It's Ohio. Like when you think trends, you don't think like New York, California, Texas, Seattle. No, you think Ohio.
John says, Derpy, was you out getting flea treatment? Derpy said he will be back. He thought he had something going on, but he'll be back tomorrow. So we'll have fun Derpy tomorrow. And then also we will have Derpy a little bit on the board today. So welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome back. I'm glad to see everybody back. There's a plethora, if you will, of things that we're going to talk about here on today's show. My God, I don't even know where to start. You know what I'm going to do, Mike? I'm not going to start with the Pirates. A lot of time I start with them to get them out of the way. But they are they've pissed me off so far and pissed Pittsburgh off so far. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait till the very end. I'm going to put my bag on my head and finish the show, like I should.
Yes.
With this Pirates team, Mike. So we got a lot of things to go over today. So hang on, everybody. A lot of things going on, Mike. Let's start with the big story yesterday. Yes. Of course, I don't know if there was a story any bigger. The George Pickens trade. I was 6:47 in the morning. I'm up. I open my phone, and I see Adam Schefter is saying that they are close to a dealing away George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys. So I'd send a couple people, I'd send it to Mike, a couple other folks, see what was going on. And then I went back to get a follow-up source to make sure that it was what was going on. And everywhere at that point, it was 7:00 a.m. And there was probably about 6 or 7, a half dozen different sources at that time talking about the trade. It had already happened. Pickens is on his way to Dallas. So we got a lot of things to talk about today, guys. A lot of things later in the show. The Pirates, they lose 7 in a row. 2 straight sweeps in a row. They lead the league in getting shutouts. The list just keeps going on, Mike. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the usher who did get into a fist fight with a fan. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds with a big upset in the tournament yesterday, Mike,
baby,
as they advance. And, of course, our Steelers NFL talk, guys. Let's kick this off, if you will. John says, watch Ryan. Weed stores will pop up on every – you know what? It's about time.
Yeah.
You know, how in the hell of a country? We're all supposed to be country, Americans, but people are enjoying their weed in Colorado for 10 years now, and in Seattle and wherever else. How the hell is this all one country? I want to go by, it goes by states. Fuck that state shit, man. Just make the shit legal and move on with your life. What's going on? John says, I knew they weren't keeping GP and DK. Yeah, that sure was a fun thought while it lasted. Everybody was looking forward to that possibly happening. Seeing what these two guys could do on the field at the same time. Of course, we're not going to see that happen. Not this year, at least anyway, gentlemen, ladies. So a lot of things, guys, we're going to go over regarding that, this, and other things, Mike, because I have a lot of notes on the Steelers here. So this is going to be a jam-packed show. Everybody enjoy, sit back, relax, have some fun. And here we go, Mike. So I guess let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me start off by saying this. The Pittsburgh Steelers now have lost 10 of their starters from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going with the complete overhaul that we suggested at the very beginning of the offseason? The very first thing we said, Mike, we came in the next day, everyone was talking about how terrible we did. We said this team has to start over. It has to start over, tear down, and build back up.
Yeah.
And is this what we're seeing? Are we seeing maybe a little bit of what the Pirates do, getting good players and sending them down the road? Quite a few questions came up over the past couple of days, Mike, as I'm trying to figure out and see. What do you think, man? What's your
sitting back and thinking about it, and then today just going back through looking at the roster and looking at past drafts and who's still here, you can see Omar Khan and Weidel, or they're slowly purging the Kevin Colbert era, the latter day era of Kevin Colbert off the roster. They're doing a purge and a rebuild, but they're adding key pieces along the way. They're not doing a complete tear down, they're doing a remodeling of the team. We're going to upgrade at positions. We're going to have guys here that will be ready to produce and still able to produce at a high level by the time, potentially, if everything goes right, the young quarterback, the young line, and the other young skill position players are ready to go. DK will be here, still having good years to go. You might have the latter end of TJ Watt here, but you hope he can be that veteran presence on a team that can make a deep run. They're rebuilding, but not rebuilding on the fly like the Penguins were, keeping around all the old players and stubbornly not wanting to trade people. They're getting rid of guys. Like, you're not fitting in here, you're out. Like they said, they want guys who have Steeler DNA. Any diva, gone. Anyone who doesn't want to be here, gone. And you look at the guys that they're bringing in, captains, team leaders from college. So, yeah, it's they're doing what what you said, what we talked about, overhauling the team, not like doing a traditional rebuild, but doing a rebuild to where they can quasi remain competitive, but still have a lot of ammunition in their draft to go up and get better players. So yeah, it's they're redoing a lot.
I think what's going on, I think this is a big turning point, a big fork in the road for a Mike Tomlin coach football team.
Yeah.
Because again, every argument that you've ever heard, he won his games with Bill Cowher's team. Things have steadily declined the longer he's been coaching. This kind of situation, Mike, should make or break the head coaching position, because all along you say what was the one constant, the one common thing, and it was always what the head coach never changed. So let's build this guy, let's build him his team.
Yeah.
Let's get him his players. Let's start from scratch. Let's get him his franchise quarterback, is what it looks like that they're doing moving forward with all the moves that they're making to this point. They got 12 draft picks, is John saying on the board. I mean, we could have a whole round to this point. So you know what I'm saying? Right at this point, now, if it does have that they're going to tank feeling, I think this may be the biggest the closest they're going to come to tanking. Like, I can't see under any circumstances the Steelers ever letting their team finish with 2 wins.
No.
I think they're going to go out there. I personally think they're going Mason Rudolph. A lot of people still tend to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the guy this year. Of course, one of the local heads said that he believes that he will be signing within the next 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
That was at the beginning of the week. I haven't seen anything that provided any kind of substance to that at all. So it seems to me, Mike, that this is the rebuilding year, and this is what you're going to get. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's what they needed. Of course, everybody wanted to see DK Metcalf and George Pickens.
Yes.
No two ways about that. No secret there. But Mike, at the end of the day, here's where we are. We have a lot of things going on. Let me get let me just give you some things that the Steelers have going on here over the next little while, Mike, and then we'll get into the possibilities who the Steelers may even bring in as a free agent to fill the spot of GP. We got a lot of things going on, guys. But tomorrow, rookie camp does start tomorrow up on the south side. So the all the new players and guys that we drafted in these past months, past draft, will be starting up tomorrow, getting some work in down at the rookie mini camp, if you will. Also, guys, next Friday, I do believe next Friday, I think it's Friday, one of these days next week, one day next week, guys, we do have the new schedule. That's right. The NFL will be revealing the 2025 schedule next week. I think it's the 15th. Mike thought it was the 14th, so we're kind of in the middle somewhere, but it's one of those 2 days.
One of those days.
And finally, guys, another thing that I did here that I thought was kind of cool, that really has nothing to do with the success of the team. However, the Steelers are getting an alternative helmet, Mike. This summer, they will be revealing their alternate helmet. Who knows what it'll be? I mean, we've had the yellow ones. We've had different helmets.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see what this new alternate helmet is going to be.
I hope it's the yellow one with the black stripe. I like that one. I like the way it looks, especially when they have like their color rush jerseys with that one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that was really good, man. So we will see. That's coming up this summer, guys. As I said, the schedule release next week. I can't wait for this. We'll be taking a good look at that, of course, on the next week's show and trying to figure out what the Steelers are going to look like, Mike. But this offseason, I just stole this off the internet. This offseason, if you were hoping for an eventful offseason, I guess you could call it, this is what's been done so far this offseason for the Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers let Justin Fields and Russell Wilson walk. They ended up going and trading for DK Metcalf. They signed Metcalf to a $132 million deal. They signed Mason Rudolph. They draft Will Howard. They pass on Shedeur Sanders. They trade away Pickens. Mike, I think this classifies as an eventful offseason.
Yes.
And, it's in all honesty, it might not be done. There might still be more to come.
Yeah. You have, what are they going to do with TJ Watt? Are they going to re-sign him or, extend him? Are they going to let him just play out this contract? Are they going to get a receiver? Are we in Brandon Ayuk Watch 2.0? This feels like Yager Watch all over again. Ayuk Watch all over again. Yeah, it's going to be a long off season, potentially a long season as well.
Absolutely. And you know what, guys? Today's going to be no short of wide receiver talk. Of course, there's a lot of things to talk about. Let me catch up on a couple of messages.
Yes, some good comments up there.
There's a lot of good comments. I've seen them. I know they weren't keeping. Okay, that was John's last one. John says they have 12 picks for next year's draft. They will finish the project in 12 months. 007, what's up? Nice to see you on the board. He says you think the Steelers could have a better deal for GP, like a second rounder instead of a third. I'll let Mike get to that one in just a second. That's up Mike's alley. Mark Malone, what's up, brother? Nice to see you this morning as well. Mark Malone says, how many wide receivers has Tomlin let fester in such big problems that we've had to ship them out? We have the answer to that also. Mark, just hang tight. John says the Steelers asked for a second during the draft, but no bites. Dallas offered a fourth until this week, hence the last deal, the latest deal. I'm sorry. Jen says on the board, gold, please, and the new color rush this year too. Can't wait to see it. Corey, what's up, brother? Nice seeing you as well on the board. Corey says, good afternoon, guys. I'm not mad at the Pickens trade. I'm mad that they had no plan, just like they didn't have last year with DJ, and now it's worse. You know what? You know what? We'll get into that too, Corey. That's actually a really interesting comment. I like that. Yinzer Joe, welcome as well, my friend. He says, I don't like the trade, but I think the value could have fallen after the season with his antics, statistics. He could have been fourth or fifth round later. And then Corey wraps up the board with saying, so now we have to worry about who's going to replace him. It's so stupid. The management doesn't learn. Great comments by everybody. Let's start right here. Guys, this is what our wide receiver room looks like at the moment. It's DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Robert Woods, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek, Brandon Johnson, and Lance McCutcheon. Of course, a bunch of names popped up yesterday of players that the Steelers could possibly go after to bring this together. Mike, some of the free agent names that I'm seeing on the board are, of course, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Nelson Aguilar, OBJ. Why don't we go and get OBJ?
Oh, God, no.
DJ Chark, Tyler Boyd, Gabe Davis, who was released by Jacksonville yesterday, and also DJ Moore. I'm seeing this name popped up, Mike.
Yes.
Any of these names wearing the black and gold this fall?
Probably not. Like I think we're running back the same wide receiver room as last year. It's gonna, Robert Woods replaces Van Jefferson, DK Metcalf replaces George Pickens. I was surprised, we didn't draft a receiver because we were trying to trade GEP, but with everything going on behind the scenes, like, you know what, they were like willing to run out the season with him, it sounded like, but then the antics that we talked about 2-3 days ago,
Mike, how bad did it get in the last week?
I know, if it came
last
that
Thursday
bad
was
to
the draft.
yeah, and then they were like, okay, you know what, we'll keep George. Then the reports come out of that week he's being an ass, and then boom, Wednesday he's gone. So what the hell is going on there? And why didn't you draft a receiver to replace him? Unless like those list of receivers there, no one's kicking down the door for him. Those guys are still available after the draft. Pick one of them. Close your eyes. Pick one. Anyone but Aguilar, please.
Oh yeah, wow.
God, yeah. You look at the production of those guys. A lot of them, their production dropped last year from the previous year before. But it's kind of worrisome. I would not be opposed to going out and making a trade for DJ Moore. Flip that third round pick you got from Dallas for DJ Moore. Call it a wash. DK Metcalf or George Pickens for DJ Moore. That's a fair trade right there if it would go that way. I don't think it's going to happen. There's also reports of them being back on Brandon Ayuk. Please, God, no. I don't want to go that route again. But they have to get someone. Like Corey said, they better have learned. And right now it's looking like they didn't. Unless things got that bad, they're like, fuck it, let's get rid of him. And addition by subtraction at that point. We don't have to deal with his nonsense. We can just focus on the guys we have and maybe grab a veteran free agent off the street that can quasi replace the production.
Well, Mike, we got one thing accomplished this week by this happening. There's not going to be any debate who's going to wear number 14 next year. George Pickens, of course, who did have the number, and DK Metcalf. If you ran out and got your number 4 DK Metcalf jersey, I feel bad. But who knows? Maybe he'll wear number 4 and you'll be all right.
Well, put some duct tape, put some electrical tape on there. You'll be all right. I do want to go back to what 007. From what I saw online, like a lot of league reporters were tweeting out, like the max value that NFL teams would give up for George was a 3rd round pick. Because of his contract ending, he doesn't have the 5th-year option because he, was a 2nd round pick. The antics that he does, so it was like his max value was a 3rd rounder. So they were lucky to get that. Dallas would be the team to do it.
And what we ultimately did get, guys, we traded Pickens away to Dallas, and they get George Pickens and a 6th round pick in 2027, which is in DC. And the Pittsburgh Steelers get a 3rd round next year in our home draft, and then a 5th round in the following season in DC at the draft down there.
Yeah, and if we really are trying to quasi tank without saying we're tanking, it was a good move because you're going to get a better pick this. You're going to get a pick this year for George instead of in 2027. And if they do more in free agency, you could potentially lose that 3rd round compensatory pick from George. So get the value now, deal with the fallout this year. And if the team suffers for it this year, it should potentially help in the long run because you're going to have a better draft pick and you're going to be picking higher in the draft than we did this year. And that isn't that the goal. We want to, improve the team. We want to get a franchise quarterback. So
again,
the goal this year should be to lose.
It's going to look like a stroke of genius. If it fails, it's going to look like the biggest blunder. That's what I'm saying. This is a huge fork in the road. What's going on right now with this team? It's something that we haven't seen.
No,
I can honestly say in my adult life. So as I said, it's going to be a big move, no matter which way it plays out. Mike, Mark Malone, they were. And that just goes to show you how bad things deteriorated here within the last week between the Steelers and George Pickens, guys, because like Mark's saying, they were trying to work a deal with the boys during the draft, supposedly. And, and it didn't happen and they didn't pull the trigger. And it seemed like they were content with the way things went. However, the last week, whatever the hell happened between the team and George in that period of time seems to be what the straw that broke the camel's back, Mike. People around the league are saying that the Dallas Cowboys fleeced us. I think we fleeced them. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Here's the thing. He wasn't going to be around after this season. Just with his antics, you felt that coming. It was coming to a point to where you knew that George Pickens was not going to be around after this season coming up. You know what? If we could, if we got the third round and what do we get, a fifth round the following year, that might have turned into a fourth round or a fifth round, after this season, as somebody said on the board with his antics, another bad season. Maybe he doesn't perform up to his standard. So I think that this one kind of works out best for everybody. We did not get fleeced by the Dallas Cowboys, Mike. But at the end of the day, I always say this, and it's not foolproof, but don't go by me, Mike. I always say this: don't go after all these players on the national championship team. Just don't do it. We went out and we thought that Pickens and Broderick Jones were just going to be the greatest things. And you know what? Look, they turned into be the two biggest clowns of them all.
Yeah.
But hopefully a couple of boys from Iowa and Ohio State come along a little bit better than what's happened here with these Georgia players. Just no success at all, Mike. Our current, and I gave you the current wide receiver room as we speak. It seems to me, Mike, and a lot of people are going to say, well, what are they going to do next? Are they going to go out and who are they going to bring in? Are they going to bring in Alan Lazard? Alan Lazard, I mean, that's not a bad option, but I think that comes with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I think if Aaron Rodgers ends up here, I think that's a possibility. Alan Lazard with his 7 years, 229 catches, 3,077 yards, and 27 touchdowns wouldn't be a terrible addition. He's not an elite receiver. If you look at his numbers, he's really mid-range. But I don't think Alan Lazard, unless, as I said, Aaron Rodgers does come here and he starts pulling in his players and doing the shit that he does, which I don't think ultimately is what we want to see. But also, Mike, they're counting a lot from what I'm reading on Roman Wilson.
Yeah.
They're saying, quote, he looks like a whole different player this year. They're expecting a second-year jump by him after only playing 5 snaps in his rookie season before getting injured. So if that, in fact, happens, again, how much better are we going to be than we are right now?
Exactly.
If you go out and bring Alan Lazard opposed to going with Roman Wilson, and he has an okay season. So again, do we get fleeced? I don't think so. I think ultimately, Mike, they are doing exactly what it was that we initially thought. You just got to tear it down. And again, you're going to have your people that are saying, well, it starts with the coach. Let it go through this process. Again, let this be his team. Let him coach this team.
Yeah, because he's not going anywhere.
From the ground up. Let him coach the team from the ground up. Give him his guy. Like Bill Cowher drafted his. Let him get his quarterback next year. Let's take a look, and we'll see if Mike Tomlin. And then I think maybe people start seriously considering his job if things continue to get worse. But Mike, as you said, he's not going anywhere in the meantime. Let's let him build his team. Let's either prove people right or prove people wrong. I mean, you've heard the argument for a decade now about the coaches, the differences, the blah blah blah. This is his team. This is his team. Again, he's not going anywhere between now and then. Let this play. Let them build their team back up. And again, Omar Khan and Andy Weedle, they have a lot to prove as well.
Exactly.
Very active in these first couple seasons, Mike, but things haven't quite gone the way that they wanted them to. So, I say it should have been a while back, but I say that the coach is on the hot seat right now, not because I want him gone, not because I want to win. Don't get me wrong. If Coach Tomlin does it and he wins and we get it's a different story. But until we continue to go on this route, people are going to want him gone, which I don't blame. I want Derek Shelton gone, which is a totally different story. People wanted Mike Sullivan gone. He won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Sometimes it's just that time. Sometimes things go still. Sometimes that is what it is. My thing is give him his chance. Here it is, Coach T. Prove to us, prove to the league that you are the one of these greatest coaches ever. People are always going to he's a Hall of Famer. And if he is, that's fine. But now it's time to show us. Let's see what you could do with your team. Again, I think he's getting his Ben Roethlisberger next year, whoever they believe it is at this point. And let's see what difference that you can make in the years coming forward. Again, if it continues to go the way that it has, Mike, I want a new coach. If it doesn't, if he wins, I have no problem with Tomlin staying here. Let's do this together. Let's start, you've been here for 100 years. I'm fine with it.
right.
But again, Mike, one half of their starters from last season, one half is gone.
Yeah.
10 out of 22 guys, almost a half starters from last season. We wanted change. We got change.
Yeah. And just going back looking through the past couple draft classes, I counted maybe 8 players left from starting from after TJ Watt. You got TJ Watt still here. Then after that draft class, Terrell Edmonds draft till now, 8 players remain from those draft classes. This is a like I said at the beginning, a purging of the Kevin Colbert draft classes, Andy Weedle, Umar Khan starting over. It's kind of like the ownership giving everyone a fresh slate going, here, this is our reset. We're not tearing it down. Purge the guys you don't want, but you better get guys in who are capable so we can still quasi remain competitive, but also rebuild as we go. And if this year, if they don't get a number 2 receiver, if they don't get a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph, they have to be willing to accept losing to get better. And it's kind of looking like they might be.
Yeah, and you know what? And the thing is, like, we've been going 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, 10-6. I don't know if we did, but at some point, something has to go one way or another. And if we don't want to sit in that limbo forever, you maybe have to take a losing season. Again, it's been a long time, guys.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since a losing season.
And we, Bill Cowher had 3 losing seasons, and they were in kind of quick succession. You had the 2 back-to-back, and then that one, I can't remember, it was
very
before
last
or after.
Year, I think it was 8-8.
It had the 8-8, but I remember there was a losing year, then the 2
But I'm saying that he had that bad year at the very end after the Super Bowl.
At the very end. Yeah, but I'm talking about the ones in the middle there right before we got
Cordell
Big Ben
Stewart
and all those guys.
Cordell team.
We needed those seasons to get better players, to move forward. Now we haven't had that. We've been, we had some of those deep runs with Ben and all that. Then now we're stuck in that middle part when some of those years we should have just let the team lose, let guys come and go, and just quit holding on to older players, which we didn't do. Now that put us stuck in this position of trying to rebuild on the fly, and now we're just purging people and hoping that these last 3 draft classes we're going to hit on players. So far, you have a couple that are hitting, but now you have to get your later round guys to hit the way they did in those early Kevin Colbert years. And that's what led to a lot of successes. Those latter round draft picks outproduced. Aaron Smith, a 7th round pick, was one of the better defensive ends of his time. Didn't have the stats for it, but well respected throughout the league. We need someone like, a Corey Trice to step up in the secondary to be that guy. Can a Logan Lee last year, can he develop into be one of those latter round picks that Kevin Colbert found early? We need those types of drafts. So it like you said, a lot of pressure's on Khan and Weedle for their picks now and their free agents and what's going on now. If they can replicate some of that success the way they did when they brought Colbert in and revitalize and new eyes on the team, it's going to work. But right now, it's still a question mark.
Mike,
it's still a huge question mark of the moves that they made.
Mike, as far as Khan and Weedle goes, you're either going to look like a genius or you're going to look like clueless after this is over. So that's what I'm saying. This is a very vital time for this team. Like probably one of the most important times in decades. Again, decades. Mike, let's get caught up to some messages on the board. I don't want to get too far behind. Give me a second. Get caught up. John says, plus, if they drafted a wide receiver, then the other teams would have offered a lower pick for GP because the red flag went up. Yenzer Joe says it's got to be Moore or Davis. Moore or Davis. John goes on to say the other podcast wasted no time to start the endless, useless, never happening available wide receiver list.
Yep.
Jen says Packers have. You know what? That's one thing I keep reading. Look at the Packers. Look at the Packers for a player because they have I don't know. Maybe go check them out.
Romeo Dobbs. He's been linked to Aaron Rodgers. Christian Watson and Dontavian Wicks would all fit in nice opposite DK Metcalf.
Yenzer Joe says the Bears like to trade with us, but maybe they're hesitant because of Claypool. They should be. They should be hesitant now. Mark Malone, they were trying to work a deal with the boys during the draft, supposedly. 007. I think that the Cowboys are going to regret the trade, especially once CeeDee Lamb starts getting the majority. I can't wait to watch this play out. This is almost as fun.
That's going to be great.
This is almost as fun, Mike, is getting ready to watch the Bizarro Browns, what they have going over there. The team formerly known as the Steelers that they're basically putting out on the field. I'll never get the Browns. We'll get more into that shortly. Corey says, well, remember when Hines Ward wore number 15 for a short time? I wouldn't mind having both jerseys, 4 and 14. I have a GP. Maybe I can take his name off and put Metcalf's name on.
Hell yeah, man. Just buy the nameplate. Save some money.
John says agents and players know how to use the media to get leverage on teams. GP didn't want to be there because there was no quarterback to throw to him. The ball bank, GP already acting a fool last year. Absolutely. I don't think at the end of the day, you wanted to see, and everybody wanted to see having both of these guys on the field at the same time, what it could do. But at the end of the day, I don't think that everyone's going to hate the move. But I do want to say, Mike, I do have some comments here. People that they're saying they're not going to be a Steeler fan anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that shortly as well, too. I can't believe you're not going to be a Steeler fan because we don't have George Pickens anymore. Right. We'll survive, believe me. We'll land on our feet, guys. Corey says, if it's true that Dallas offered us a fourth before the draft, then we should have taken that trade and drafted for a replacement wide receiver and then gone from there. We could have had Golden if we knew this. John says, late to the playoff game. Bye-bye. Caleb, what's up, brother? Caleb says, I think Pirates should oil can Boyd. Jen says, no headaches with him holding out in training camp. John says, Jen, agree. One less issue for the media to stir up trouble. Mm-hmm. Corey says, I've always heard of rumors about trading for Romeo from Green Bay, but that doesn't make sense since they just drafted Golden to boost their room, but I'd prefer him over any free agent out there.
Like Green Bay has like 500 receivers, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone says, like with us in tight ends.
Jen says, yes, freak. And then John goes on to say, how does a player look good in the offseason? He must have looked great in shorts. Mark Malone, hopefully Tomlin can get both of his brain cells to work together and not pull any major boners in the game this season. Corey says we have to be careful with the tanking scenario. It can lead to a decade of losing if you don't get absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is a very This is a fork in the road for the Steelers, guys. Yeah. This next 365 days is huge for this franchise. If we fall to get our guy, the right guy, then we could become the Browns fast. John says the Eagles have 12 D linemen who get a minimum of 10 steps each game. They rotate like a hockey front and stay fresh all game. All season game and playoffs. Time to copycat and get quality backups. Mike is absolutely right about the late picks. Jen goes on to say Logan Lee played next to Black. Theoretically, so they should have a little bit of chemistry in Iowa. I'm guessing that would be. Yep. Good morning to Richard on the board. Always great seeing you, my friend. John says GP is 1 year all rental for Dallas. That's what I'm saying. He's going to be more of a pro. And the thing is, the Cowboys fans are so excited about this. You're going to have it's a disaster. I would be so surprised if this doesn't turn into a disaster sooner than later.
Yeah, we saw how GP got when he wasn't getting the targets. You know, his route running became lazier and lazier. You know, his contested catch rate went from one of the best to middle of the pack in the league. He gets disinterested if he's not getting his targets. Not like they said, you got CD Lamb there, who one of the better receivers in the league. Whew, it's going to be fun.
He's going to be getting up to 100 catches this year. So, I mean, you know, it's going to be interesting. Again, guys, this is not all fine and dandy for Dallas. It seems like a kind of a hard hit right now, guys, but are we really that much worse off than we were? And you could always say, yes, you have an elite receiver in George Pickens, but at the end of the day, there's a lot that went along with that. And there's a lot that went into the reason why we went out and got a $132 million receiver. There's a reason that George Pickens, guys, I think we're going to be okay. I really do. Tortilla Jackson on the board. What's up, brother? Nice seeing you this morning. As always, my friend Roger, likewise. Roger says, if you are no longer a Steeler fan after this, then you were never a Steeler fan. I hate the loss of GP, but I trust Con. He's aggressive and it'll pay off. I agree with you, Roger. Jen saying what's up to Tortilla. Kenneth, what's up, my man? Kenneth says, we were still better than last year, depending on QB play. Guys, let me give you our offense. Nice seeing you as well, Kenneth. Great to have you on today. Yes. Thank you, sir. Let's see. So this is, guys, our starting offense as far as with the skill positions as of right now. Yeah. Mason Rudolph is your starter. Skylar Thompson's not going to be your starter.
Nope.
Will Howard's not going to be your opening day starter. So as of right now, Mason Rudolph is your starter. Jalen Warren and Caleb Johnson are your running backs, which I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
I think that this Caleb Johnson that we drafted, guys, get this. Caleb Johnson, Mike, he was the second only to Ashton Genty coming out of college this year with yards after contact. Caleb Johnson, Mike, had 4.42 yards after contact last season. Again, only second to Ashton Genty, the #1 overall running back, of course, that went to the Raiders out of Boise State. So that's encouraging. And a lot of people are comparing his running style to Le'Veon Bell. I like the sound of that as well.
And he fits into the zone running scheme that we like to run, to where
Absolutely.
you can cut back or hit the front side of the hole. Yeah, he's going to be fun to watch.
So after the running backs, of course, our wide receivers 1 through 3 should be DK Metcalf, should be Calvin Austin III, and should be Roman Wilson. Those should be your top 3 receivers in the pack. Again, Mike, as we mentioned earlier, you also in that room have Robert Woods, Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek, Brandon Johnson, and Lance McCutcheon. And then finally, the tight end room, Pat Freiermuth is your starting tight end. So, I mean, let's take a look at last year.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph. Let's put him aside. Let's start with the running backs.
Yeah.
Last year, you had Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Now you have Caleb Johnson and Jalen Warren. Of course, Najee wasn't a 1,000-yard running back. So, Johnson has to come in and prove himself. No two ways. He can't come in and have a so-so season if he's going to, if they're going to do the 2-man attack like they have been, put Gainwell as the 3rd down back. So I don't think that we've got any better or any worse at that spot, Mike. It all depends on if Caleb Johnson comes out and has a productive rookie season.
Yeah, if him and Jalen Warren can combine, get about 1,500 yards rushing, you're going to equal the production. The thing is, though, can Caleb Johnson be available every game and not fumble the ball like Najee Harris was there game in, game out, and was great at not fumbling ball. So if him and Jalen Warren can do that, it's a wash and probably in the long run a upgrade.
Let's look at the wide receiver room. Now, last year we had one wide. I mean, we obviously had more, but you say we have one wide receiver. This year we have one wide receiver instead of GK or GP. It's DK. So there's that difference there. Of course, you are getting your Roman Wilson back in the mix. Of course, Calvin Austin is probably going to be, at this point, again, your number 2 at this point to start the season. Guys, tight end situation didn't change. So quite literally, this is basically a mirror. What I'm seeing, again, after losing 10 starters out of 22 starters, Mike, not much changed on this offense to where I would think, again, you just basically the big difference, in my opinion, is putting Mason Rudolph instead of Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. That's the big difference in the offense. That's why I say that this team is going. They're taking the. They're diving a little bit. I think, Mike. Unless you go out and you spend the money to win this year, and I don't think anybody realistically thinks this team's going to win a Super Bowl this year. It's kind of in a way a dive, and I don't think it's the worst decision ever.
Yeah.
Again, Mike, if you look at the offense, literally. The only real change at this point, again, would be the quarterback. And, to think that you've upgraded by going to Mason Rudolph instead of having the, future Hall of Famer Russell Wilson, obviously at the end of his career, Justin Fields, I think that's crazy. I don't see how this offense is any different than last year.
It's not. And
it's almost identical.
It is.
With different players.
Yeah, and you have Broderick Jones instead of Dan Moore.
Right.
When you look at the offensive line, like, okay, that to me it's a wash. Even though Dan Moore did get $80 million from Tennessee, but yeah, it's the same. And they're at about $35 million in cap space. You can say, oh, they're going to extend TJ. You haven't heard a peep about that. Oh, they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers. He only wants $10 million, but you forget they can roll this cap money into next year. And with 12 draft picks, extra fucking cap space, they can be big time spenders in free agency and in the draft.
And on top of that, Mike,
they, just on paper, if they're thinking that this would not be a bad time to just roll with this unit and play the young guys and see what you can and see how they develop, and then add to next year. And you're theoretically, if everything goes right, you're going to be so much better, not this year, but the next year, and then the year after that.
As a Pittsburgher, Mike, that scares the hell out of me. You don't know how many times I've heard this in my life, and things just did not get better. So I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of the future. It's been 10 years. At what point are they going to fix this for the future? I mean, obviously, you work for the future every year. It doesn't matter what you do. For 8 straight years, we haven't improved. So again, Mike, this is a big This is a big part of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the franchise. And again, Mike, I would say this is where you set Mike Tomlin on the hot seat from here on out. Again, if he does great, fantastic, fantastic. But
and I tell you what, who's really going to be on the hot seat are going to be Omar Khan and Andy White.
Absolutely,
they're going to be, because this is their plan. This is what they were brought in to do, and this is the plan they are executing.
Well, I tell you what, our GMs do bring in good players. There's no two ways about it. We don't draft bad. We generally draft pretty well. And I think it's time. I think it's time for everybody to show up. I think it's GM. I think it's head coach. I think it's everybody, guys. I'll give them this rebuild year because, again, this is what it looks like they're doing. Yeah. This is basically saying we're throwing away the season without saying we're throwing away the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they're not going to openly admit they're tanking. They're not going to openly admit that they're not going to try and be as competitive as they can be. But can they stick to it? Can they stomach not being competitive every week? Can they stomach being at the bottom of the standing? That's going to be the thing. Can they swallow their pride?
Well, you know what, Mike? When we were trying, the Browns finished in front of us for the first time in 30-some years. You know? So if we have some bad hits of the season, if that's in fact what we're doing, it's going to happen. At the end of the day, we've done better than every team pretty much in as far as everything goes, championships with the exception of the Patriots. So at the end of the day, if you have to take a bad season, it's been a long time since we had to, Mike. And again, to me, it looks like they're saying we're diving without saying we're diving. And again, I don't know if we're in any better position than we were in a lot of situations. The defense is basically the same. And if the defense has to carry the game and win every game and most of the games and the offense isn't scoring, I can't possibly see how this is going to be any different than what we've been seeing here, Mike. I want to accept this as the down year, and I hope that everything gets better after that, because again, you're coming to Pittsburgh, you have 12 draft picks, Mike. This is a chance to really turn things around. So if you were in fact going to go with that game plan, there's no better time to execute it than now.
No, and don't be afraid to play the young players. If they go out and make mistakes,
absolutely,
put them back out there. Run them back out there. Keep running them out there.
He's ready. Don't let him sit around for a year. Let him play.
I want to see. I want to see more Nick Herbig. I don't want to see DeMarvin Leal. I do not want to see Isaiah Loudermack. No, I want to see Black. I want to see Logan Lee. I want to see Uko Ale from who we pick him up from New England. I want to see him. I want to see some Malik Harrison in there. But he's not a younger player, but we brought him over from Baltimore to fill Landon Robbins. I want to see him play. I want to see Beanie Bishop play. I want to see, I want to see Eccles too, but play your younger guys and see what you can get out of them. Put Jack Sawyer in a rotation with TJ Watt. Keep TJ Watt fresh. Extend his career by rotating in Jack Sawyer more and more.
Kenneth says we were still better than last year, depending on the QB play. He also goes on to say the standard is the standard. GP would have been a nightmare this year with his contract. Mark Malone, it's a big hit to the offense having those two outside. Absolutely. You know what? At the end of the day, it probably just came down to, where the team saw the value that it could get in George Pickens. Because I sure, even if it was going to be a throwaway season with two wide receivers like that, you're still going to get that Bengals success because you have two elite receivers. Things are going to happen. You're going to be able to move the ball. You're going to be able to score some more points. Who knows how good you're going to be beyond that. But let me move on here, guys. Con said Con will get a wide receiver 2 this year. That's what Richard's saying.
We're hoping.
Again, I don't.
We had him, but then no.
I think if AR12 comes here, I think they do. I think if AR12 doesn't come here, I think we run with what we have. To me, that's how it looks. Mark Malone, he runs nothing like Bell.
I mean, like in the vision that Bell has, whereas Najee, he had that the seas had to part like the Red Sea. Caleb Johnson, just what I watched him play, he can see the holes and know where to cut back, kind of like how Lev did. That's how I see him as a Le'Veon Bell. Not like that stop, judder, scratch my head, hit my bong, and then hit the hole.
John says the Steelers had a 2.8 chance to win a Super Bowl this year with GP and 2.4. That's what I'm saying. This is basically, listen, it's basically the same exact team.
Yeah.
Despite the mirrors and the smoke and things moving, constant moving parts, this is literally about the same. That's why I'm hoping that this is a rebuild, because if not, again, we might be in big trouble, guys. So let's hope that that's what's going on. unless again they go out and make a bunch of moves between now and then. They go out and they bring in Aaron Rodgers, they bring in a receiver. So very, 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 very vital time for the Steelers, guys. Corey Beaver says the truth is everything is going to depend on how the offensive line plays. If they protect Mason, then it will hide a lot of his flaws and keep us in games and have a strong running game. If not, then Mason is done. I agree. The offensive line is, again, this was supposed to be the backbone of the Omar Khan, Andy Weidel, Tomlin teams is the interior line. So we will certainly keep our eye on that. Kenneth says the offensive line could be better. You know what? The offensive line is so tricky to me because you draft these guys young and you expect them to be the offensive line of your future. But what do you guys think? Of course, I think Frazier did really well. The guard did really well. Yeah, Fatano goes out. Fatano's hurt all season. That's not a good sign because you just don't want to see a guy right out the cut be injured all the time. But we will see with him. And then Broderick Jones, Mike, he's the big question mark, of course. I mean, he's where you start. This whole thing started out. You're starting with your offensive line. You picked Broderick Jones 2 seasons ago, and he still doesn't know if he's right-handed or left-handed, or that's kind of worrisome. So, Mike, is this offensive line, is it improving? And do you see it continuing to improve, or does it kind of seem like we have ourselves a situation we might have to go back and fill the whole Broderick Jones position all over again? And again, you hope a guy like Fatano, a guy that misses his whole first year to injury, is not a good sign. So still, things that have you scratching your head a little bit, Mike. Is this offense going to play better this year than it did last year? And if it does, of course, by nature, you would think that would help the offense. But Mike, do you see this offensive line improving this year, staying the same, or possibly not playing as well as it did last year, going into their sophomore season?
Yeah, I see the interior line being so much better. With Frazier is already being talked about as a top 5 center in the league. So I think he's solid. McCormick, this was the year he was supposed to start and learn the bumps. He did that last year. For how athletic as he is and how he seemed to get better as the year went on, like technique wise. Sometimes, you can see like he hit a rookie wall, but he didn't give up. He kept playing. So I'm confident there. I think Sayamalu's going to have a bounce back year. It wasn't his best year, even though he made the Pro Bowl. I think he'll bounce back. And then the issues are going to be tackle. I think Fatanu, if he stays healthy, is going to be a whole hell of a lot better than Broderick Jones. And Broderick Jones is going to be at the tough spot. But if you know he's going to be the weak spot, okay, now we know how to work our blocking schemes. Now we know how to roll. We're going to have our back over there for the most part. Have a tight end over there to help chip in obvious passing downs and shit like that. You can work around it. It won't be ideal. But, people say, Broderick Jones, you put him on the left side, he's going to be all world. Maybe that's all he needs to do is be on that left side, and it's just magically going to click into his head, and he's going to know how to have his hands up in the proper place. He's going to know how to
that's what I'm
set
saying.
his feet. So it's
these guys that are drafted from championship teams. They're so hit or miss,
and especially
they're so hit or miss because again, you was the number 1 team in the country. You have 21 other people playing on that field around you that are top athletes. You don't know who's the top. You don't know who's the weakest link. Again, I'm not seeing many things out of Broderick Jones that I love. I guess we'll go round 3. Let's take a look at him one more time, see what's going on. Mike, let's jump back on the board, though. I'm going to start right here with John. John says, Corey Beavers agree. Rodgers will have the quickest release in the NFL for self-preservation.
Yeah.
Corey says, yeah, John, and that quick release will not lead to big plays. It'll be a lot of dink and dunks. So we really can't afford to for a bad offensive line, too many old guys and or rookies to have subpar line play. Mark Malone says we have to spend 90% of our cap every year, right?
No, I just looked it up. It was like 95% over a rolling 4-year period for 2025. The minimum we have to spend is 24.8, and we're at like 27.7, I believe. Or 277. We're at 277, so we're right at the just right at the threshold. We're good.
John says folks assume the O line will be good because of the draft capital invested, but I'm not sure. It's kind of that's what we're just
we'll
saying.
See.
Kenneth says, I see the plan. By the time we get the franchise QB, the team will be built and no real lockout. That's the plan.
That's what we all are hoping for.
That's that. You know what? If everything goes the way that you want, that I believe is ultimately the plan. keep building the team,
Mm-hmm.
keep building the team until you're able to pluck your guy and put him in, as we did with Ben and as we did with come on, look, the Chiefs did it with Mahomes. Anybody that is your guy, this is what you ultimately want. So I mean, it is part of the bigger plan. Hopefully it goes that way. And again, Mike, I hope that we're not off. Hopefully this isn't just bad managing of the team overall, and they're just you're able to say, well, okay, this can work this way. I hope it's part of the grand scheme ultimately with these three, the three-headed monster, of course, Khan, Weedle, and Tomlin. I want to win more than anything, and people say, well, this guy needs to go. This guy, if he deserves to go, let him go. Get rid of him. Get somebody else who's going to do the job. I want to win. I don't care if it's Tomlin. I don't care if it's Cowher. I don't care. As long as we're winning and are in contention for Super Bowls every so often. But like I said, Mike, I think that this is a big fork in the road for the Steelers, for Mike Tomlin, for a whole lot going on, Mike. So let's just hope that this goes just as planned, as said on the board. John, Mike, I agree. Play Howard and see what he has. I think eventually that should be the case this season. Eventually, right? I don't think right off the cut, but
like because they say they want to go with 4 quarterbacks. If we don't sign Aaron Rodgers, isn't like Jacoby Brissett still available? Get someone like him just to say you have your
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I think he might still be under contract with the Chiefs, maybe.
I don't know. You know what? I think I've seen that too. I'm looking at the latest top free agents list, and he's on there. Why they didn't take him off, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. I just closed my app or my screen that had all the free agents too.
He goes on to say, we know what Rodgers and Mason can do, and they aren't long term. Feel the Steel. What's up, brother? Nice seeing you on the board, my man. Always great seeing you. He says, good morning. There you go. The Drama Castle got its Drama Queen. Bye, number 14. Dallas is going to be almost as fun as the Browns to watch this year. I can't wait.
No, you're right. Wentz is available. My mistake.
Also, Mark Malone says, yeah, Johnson hits the hole hard, really penetrates.
He's a good penetrator.
Also, Johnson's got to be prepared to replace the trenches if players aren't working. And that's when we dropped the ball, because we got rid of a lot of offensive line over the past. Just from last year, Mike.
Yeah.
The 2 veterans you got rid of in Daniels and I can't think of the other guy's name, and then also Nasty Nate. Down the list, we just continue to let guys go. So the depth of the offensive line might be a concern once we get going.
Yeah. And real quick, to piggyback off that, Omar Khan showed he's not afraid to replace people and let them go.
Well, we replaced 10 out of 22.
10 out of 22.
10 out of 22 starters from last season's team, guys. Also, Kenneth says Jones was supposed to be the left side all along. He thrives on the left. I got to be honest, I haven't seen this guy thrive at anything. And I hope you're right, because that is what we drafted him, as a big left tackle to protect our quarterback's back. I got to see more out of him this year, man.
He's reminded me of Chase Claypool. Had that monster second half of the rookie year when he came in onto the line. It hasn't done anything since, but hopefully getting back on the left side, maybe that's all he needed all along.
Mark Malone says, yeah, Frazier, McCormick, Ciamalo have 14 games together now. The interior line should be on the same page. He goes on to say we should be able to run zone. Joe says, well, Jones been crying that he's not on his side. I don't even know if he knows what his side is at this point. I'm going to be honest. Now he has no excuse. He better do better. This is showtime for him, Mike. A lot of people have to step up this year, and he's one of them.
Yeah, this is a big time for him, because next year we have to figure out if we're going to accept that 5th-year option. This is a money year for Broderick Jones.
Big year, man. He
showed he progressed in the maturity last year. You saw him beginning of the year being wild and out of control. Then he started being the one getting guys under control. So he's showing that development. Can he show the development at the position to warrant getting that 5th-year option in a big payday?
Let's see. John goes on to say, pick a 2023 class, 2026 class, next QB swing. That guy will get more than 2 years. A QB miss will put them back 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
I always say, well, I'll get back to that in a second, guys. Johnson's a first-round quarterback, has a 50-50 chance of being successful. Burrow, Jackson, and Allen are considered successful without a ring. Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
No two ways about it.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Those are the guys.
Yeah.
Corey Beaver says Brissett went to the Cardinals.
He did.
Yeah,
he did. I saw his name pop up and I thought he was still a free agent. So thank you, Corey.
Tortilla says the Pickens trade has everyone overreacting. I would have loved to see GP and DK. GP is a top 10 talent, but his production is not. All we need to do is replace his production. And then Kenneth says Jones' rookie year went well, even on the Jones' rookie year, he did well even on the right. Did he?
Yeah. He came in, he replaced Chooks, and then when he came in, that run game took off. He was like a bulldozer on that right side of just.
So when did he get bad? In his second year? I
guess. Yeah, second year, and then
weren't they already moving him? I don't know.
No, they brought him in. He sat.
He played no games at right tackle his rookie year.
He played I think it was like the last 9 games he came in and started at right tackle. That's all he played. And then the run game elevated from when he came in.
Well, I hope you're right. Listen, I'm not going to debate you. I'm going to watch and see if he does get any better at that position.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Again, there's just been things that I saw that made me think otherwise. Roger says Tortilla. I think his production was directly related to the quarterback play. But yeah, I wanted to see the duo. Everybody wanted to see that. No two ways about it. Everybody wanted to see GP, DK getting the ball through him. Wanted to see little Aaron Rodgers maybe getting on the ball. But again, guys, I really do think that this is the dive season, and I'm going to say I'm not disappointed. But it's a big season, Mike, because again, all the people that are going to complain and have been complaining about Tomlin, things are going to come to fruition with what's going on right now and the way this team is being built and the way that I love it. But Mike, again, like some of the people on the board are saying, it could set us back a good 5 years if it doesn't work out.
Exactly. Yeah. And my question is, like, will the Steeler fan base writ large be able to handle a down year?
No, not at all.
They are going to lose their
just like
minds.
We did in the late 90s. I hated it.
Yeah. Because you have, the fans who really don't pay attention to offseason moves and stuff like that. They just see the game and figure out who's playing and why aren't we winning. And then, there's fans like us and the people on the board who know what's going on and can see what's going on. But there's still a lot, too, that just think every year we have an entitlement to deep playoff runs and Super Bowls.
Well, obviously that's not the case because it's been a decade since we won a playoff game.
They're going to get hit hard by the realization that, like you said, we're diving without diving, tanking without tanking.
Look at the Patriots. You were basically seeing what's going on with them. And it seems that we have been able to keep our head a little bit more above water than they have. During the process. But if you're interested to see what's going to happen to us, watch how their process takes place and what the steps they're going through, because it's basically what we have to do. We've been lucky to keep, again, our head above water during the whole situation. But you never know, guys. A couple people, Mike, these are your top free agents across the board that are still out there. Aaron Rodgers, of course, Carson Wentz, the guard, Brandon Schreff. Mike, is there any idea that they may go out and pick up an offensive lineman for depth somewhere? Do you think they have what they want? Because again, there's Brandon Schreff out there. There's still Dalton Reiser still out there. Two tough guards in the free, still sitting as free agents. Mike, is this the offensive line we're going with? And are you concerned at all about the lack of depth? Let's just say they do run into more injuries this year. Let's just say that Broderick Jones, freaks out and forgets what the hell he's doing. And are you okay with the depth of this offensive line at the time? Dan Moore Jr., James Daniels, Nasty Nate, all these people that was depth and good depth, they're all gone now.
I'm okay with McCollum at center depth. I'm okay with Spencer Anderson. It's the Calvin Anderson at left tackle and Doug Nestor at right tackle. That's where I'm really concerned. Like, there's no real depth behind our 2 starting tackles.
There's not.
And that's like the interior depth I'm fine with. Like I said, the 2 main backups, they showed that they can come in and hold the fort. Now, if they're down for the year, we're screwed. That's the big thing right there. But
everyone's just assuming, Mike, that these 2 interior offensive linemen are going to have a great sophomore season. Follow up their great rookie year. That's a tough thing to do. Now people know you. Now people have more tape. Now people have more.
That's what John was saying about like the Broderick Jones. That's a perfect example. And those 2 right there, they're going to know how to attack them. But can those 2 adjust? And that's going to be the key. And see, I was all positive. Now I'm starting to get worried.
Well, I don't know what I am. And just like most Steeler fans, Mike, we're sitting here and we don't know what we are. I don't know whether to be positive. I don't know whether to be negative. I don't know if they ultimately know what they're doing and have a grand plan. I don't know if they're running around scratching their heads not knowing. I just don't know. And the Steeler faithful does not know either, Mike. That's what's making this stressful for this offseason. Let's get to some of these messages on the board, though. Let's go right here. I don't know where we were.
We're at
Roger. Was lead at Roger. I think this production was directly related to the QB play. Okay, so we had that. Okay, the tackle. I think we're right here. Corey Beaver says, I want to see what GP and Dak goes down again, and they go 5-12. You know what? Watching them fail is going to be fantastic. I hope they do, Mike. And you know what's funny? People don't talk about their last good season. The Cowboys, they always talk about they haven't been to the NFC Championship game. You know what? The last time it happened was the year that they played us in the Super Bowl. Maybe, Mike, maybe they was messing around with a terrible towel, because now it's been 30 years since they've been back. So I'm just saying.
We have to go back and watch. I can't.
Maybe there was funny play.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll go back and watch the game and see if they did that, but I cannot watch that game again.
Corey says, I think we're okay with Mason at quarterback because the dual threat wide receiver, now it feels like we're one injury away from disaster.
You're right.
That's been the tale of our team. We're
just been the tale of like them and the Penguins, man. One injury away. I hate it.
Joe says we lost Dan Moore. Oh, there we go. And James Daniels. I don't know that they are even better than what we have now. I just think that Andrew Joe was the depth. I think the problem with that, and Nasty Nate too, Mike. I mean, he was penciled in to be the starter last season. Then but again, I'm talking depth. I'm not talking about the ability of Nasty Nate. He wasn't that good.
No.
But at the end of the day, some of these comments and what we're saying is, if one injury could be that much of a upender for the Steelers team, this depth is going to be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I think McCollum he's a better player than Nasty Nate. Spencer Anderson and Nasty Nate.
But again, that's not
that's
fine if they're better, but
extra,
the depth, right?
Having that extra guy on depth too.
Because the injury bug has certainly been visiting Pittsburgh the past few years.
Yeah.
I mean, Corey Trice, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Fatanu. I mean, those are 4 whole entire seasons.
Yeah.
Gone due to injury. Just 4 guys. John says, wait until Ryan can smoke weed. He'll be able to see into the steel. Yes, I will be. With the weed and with my magic ball, I will be able to see into the future a lot better. Mark Malone says McCollum is great depth. Kenneth Jones agree they need to get better backup tackles.
Yeah.
Just generally better depth. That's all. I'm not saying that these guys are going to be. It's the line of the future. This is who they want as our offensive lineman. That has to. For that to happen, they got to play together. But again, it's the injuries. The injuries is what is what scares me. Arturo Gomez, what's up, my man? And welcome to the show. He says, you guys gonna suck, got no quarterback. Who's your quarterback? That's what we're talking about, Arturo. We're trying to figure that out, man. It looks as of right now, it's the guy that went 3-0 in his campaign 2 seasons ago. And we just got him back. But again, there's a lot of time. Who knows? Arturo, we're still people still saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to be here. Mark Malone, heck yeah, glad he got a chance to get on the field, or else they probably would have brought back Herbig. Kenneth says to Arturo Gomez, we haven't had a quarterback since Big Ben, and we did fine.
Exactly. I mean, we won with Duck Hodges.
Tortilla said, instead of Deadpool, we need an injury pool. Place bets on who's going to go down for the year.
Oh, you wait until football season when Ryan and I do the over-under.
Speaking of death pools, Mike, I wonder when the hell they're going to stick this Pope in the ground. What's going to come for? No, they're still parading him around. I'm pretty sure. And you know what else? What's going to come first? The Steelers are going to make the playoffs, or they're going to put that damn Pope in the ground.
You know what? That's a good one right there.
I just don't know.
I don't know. I think the Steelers might have a better chance of making it into the playoffs than the Pope being buried.
Arturo Gomez says, does fine make the playoffs? That's fine. Get to the Super Bowl. Well, we've done it a little bit more than everybody else. So you know what? If we have a down year every now and then, Arturo, I think we're going to be fine. People are stressing out. We're rebuilding, and it's in a process right now, my friend. Tortilla says my bet will be on Muth.
Oh God, if Muth gets hurt,
hey,
we have 900.
We have 14 tight ends. We'll be all right.
We have like 900 tight ends on the roster.
Corey says, but I will say that Rudolph looks like a super villain with that goatee so much he can take places. He can take us places while he's a heel.
You know what? This villain arc of Mason Rudolph might be what he needs to elevate his game.
Come back as the villain, the whole new identity.
Kevin Colbert famously said, hey, we have a first-round grade on Mason Rudolph when we got him in the 3rd. So maybe he just needs the goatee to unlock that potential.
Kenneth, you're right. Nate could play guard too. Nasty Nate was a good asset to have. I agree. Him being out the whole entire season certainly wasn't good. But when you're talking depth, I didn't hate Nate Herbig. Plus, you got a brother hanging around. You're going to be in a better place mentally, studying. You could talk to your brother. You could have him help you with things. I didn't hate Nate Herbig. I thought he was a great depth player. Yinzer Joe says, who needs a quarterback? We've been backing into the playoffs without one for years.
Hell yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. When you're the Steelers, you have a big sign on your back. You have a target like the Yankees do. And when you're not good, people really like to rub it in. I see Arturo Gomez going at it a little bit here, but you know what? It is what it is. You're not, we got 6. Wait till some of these other teams start catching up. And then if we still are having a hard time, then we'll talk. But we're well ahead. We're ahead of everybody. New England doesn't look like they're passing us anytime in the near future. So we still have to go day by day to get it right, guys. Mike, I was wrong. I talked to you before the show. You were 100% right. They only had that one pick in the 7th round next year. Yeah. Our 12 picks look like this. We have a 1st round pick. We have a 2nd round pick. We have 3 3rd round picks, 2 4th round picks, 2 5th round picks, 2 6th round picks, and a 7th round pick, Mike, at the draft in 2026 in Pittsburgh next year. 12 picks as we speak, Mike. You think how much of these 12 picks do you think going into trading and getting positioned to maybe getting your quarterback?
Definitely a 1st and a 3rd. Yeah, definitely the 1st round pick. Probably a 1st round pick the following year, and some of those 3rd round picks, or maybe even the 2nd round pick, depending on where we finish and how high we want to move up to get our guy. So it wouldn't surprise me if 1, 2, 3 of those picks are used to move up in the 1st round.
Yeah, Mark Malone says, I wish he would shave a Hitler stash and go back after Garrett. I got to be honest, Mike, as last season was coming to an end and they were talking about the Myles Garrett contract, I thought we would never see a Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph showdown in the Browns and Steelers uniform ever again.
I can't wait.
This has an opportunity to create a storyline of a lifetime.
It's going to be awesome. And then remember, was it a couple years ago, we played the Browns. Someone lost a helmet. Myles Garrett grabbed it. Broderick Jones snagged that thing. No.
Yeah.
Right, like Bro Derek wasn't even here, and he knew. He's like, no, Myles Garrett is not allowed to grab any of our helmets. I think
he's on helmet probation.
Yeah, Marquise Pouncey tried to stop Myles Garrett, but he didn't do a whole lot.
Yo, he ghetto stomped, dude. Did you see
that's
that?
right. Yeah, he was Ogunjobi.
Yeah,
who ended up being our teammate. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because he did that thing like where he started punching and then he slid over the guy's body and then he started ghetto stomping him. Okay, Corey says 1st, 3rd, and 4th to move up. You know what? If you're getting that guy, more power to you. Do it. Go get him. Get your guy. I got to be honest with you. If Arch Manning, and again, we don't know if he's even coming out, but he is one of the quarterbacks, Mike, on this list of guys coming out next year. I just feel bad for anybody that passes a guy with that name on the back of his jersey. I'm just saying, listen, if Arch Manning comes along is a terrible quarterback and you take the chance on him, you know what? I think that's as good a risk as any. I really do. Nobody in that bloodline has been anything less than a really, an outstanding quarterback. Archie was great for his day. He's a Saints quarterback, for crying out loud. What's it take to be a great Saints quarterback? Peyton Manning, obviously one of the best, and even Eli. The only person that can figure out how to beat Tom Brady in the game, not once, but twice. If I see a guy coming out with that name on the back of his jersey, Mike, I'm going after him. That's me because, again, I don't want to see another Manning come in to have a career in the NFL like every Manning ever has before us and say, wow, he's another one that got away.
Or Arch can be like Art the Third.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's it.
And that's what I'm saying. It's possible, right? But again, you're taking just as much chance on anybody else.
But
out of college.
I don't like just drafting on name. Just let me see what they do. If
I don't either. I wouldn't trade. Listen. I'm going to tell you why I don't like drafting by name. I didn't want Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
But listen, this particular family of gold.
Yeah.
The NFL. Come on, you were going to kick yourself for many years if you let a Dan Marino situation happen. Again, guys, I think the best possible situation to see another Dan Marino is if we pass on Arch Manning. Again, just my opinion. But Mike, I'm telling you, I just struggle to see a Manning come into the league and not be good at least.
Well, I was pissed the Steelers drafted TJ Watt because of JJ, they're getting JJ Watt's brother. I didn't see it because, the times I watched him play in college, I was not impressed. But, I was wrong there. I'm willing to admit that. So if I'm, Arch has a similar career to even Eli, I'd be happy. And I happily admit I was wrong as of right now, saying I don't want him. I think I don't know if he's even coming out this year. There's talk like he might stay for another 2 years.
Right.
Even. Yeah.
So again, I mean, that's a very
we're a long way away, but yeah, this is the fun part, man.
I just, again, Mike, there's just some people.
Yep.
That's it. Listen, again, we have a lot of time to talk about that. Yep. My guy, way early, is in fact Arch Manning, but still many months to go, guys. Of course, the rookie camp here in Pittsburgh starts tomorrow. The schedule is released next week, and guys, just 90 days away. We're going to be in August, and it's going to be football, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good, man. I swear, we're not even going to remember GP is gone once the Steelers start. Mark Malone says, if I were Mason, I would totally do that before the Cleveland game. Part your hair to the side like you know who.
And give some really fiery speeches, too, right before the game. Do it on the field.
Mason could actually call him the N-word this time, and since Mason is cool, since they're cool, he could say it. Kenneth says, sadly, I don't see the scenario that we get into the top 10 pick ever. And I'm just wondering if that's what's going on, Kenneth. I'm just wondering if they're positioning themselves. Again, 12. You have 12 picks in your pocket going into next season in Pittsburgh. I think Omar Khan and company is going to want to make this a party in Pittsburgh next year on the North Shore, guys. So, again, if they have a less than stellar season, let's say they get that one season that's finally lower than 500 under coach, they have 12 picks in their pocket. Maybe if this is in fact the plan, this is how they're going to probably try to get their guy, but there's no secret. They got to go out and get that guy. Everybody with their guy is winning. The teams that don't have their guy are not winning. It's just what the NFL become. It's a passing league. It's a different league than what we've grown up with, but you got to have that guy. Kansas City's not going to the Super Bowl 6 years in a row without their guy. Buffalo is not nearly as good as they are without their guy. So again, we know, because we've had Ben for almost 20 years, we know, we understand that entirely. And I remember always saying, guys, there's going to be life after Ben. Believe it or not, when I lived through it before Ben, it was terrible. You don't know what's going to happen from year to year. You hope for the best. But when it's all said and done, you say to yourself, you know what? We just didn't have it. We weren't that good. We shouldn't have been the Super Bowl team. So, guys, this again, I can't stress it enough. This, Mike, we are on a big moment in Pittsburgh Steeler history these next 360 days, give or take.
And the way they're building the team to build it to get your quarterback. If you miss on that rookie quarterback, are you really going to be set back? Because the team could be quarterback proof. You can still be competitive, and you figure out after 2 years or 3, this guy ain't it. You can go out and get a veteran to come in and fill that spot and maybe take you to where you want to go, since you have a team in place ready to go. So that's one of the things I hope they're doing is, build that team to where you get that rookie quarterback. He has a Jaden Daniels type rookie year. Hopefully he has a good jump year 2. But if it doesn't work out, okay, fuck it. We'll go find a veteran quarterback who can still come in and lead this team full of vets that, have good experience, have good chemistry. We failed on a rookie quarterback. Well, fuck it. We're going to go pluck someone and put him in and go get like a reclamation project, like a similar, like a Geno Smith type, or get a good year out of someone, and kind of like how Minnesota got that year out of Sam Darnold. They can do stuff like that if you build a good team. Now, we don't have that luxury right now because we have so many holes to fill. You have to fill them before you get quarterback.
Let's jump on the board, Mike. Ninja Joe says, I think we're all worrying a little too much right now. There's still a lot of time left till July, August. Teams are still shit. Absolutely, but realistically,
we said that last year too.
in the year before. But listen, again, I think the big changes are going to come from here moving forward. We start putting pieces in place to build the team for when we do get our quarterback. And I don't know if there's much we could do around that other than what we've done. Of course, you'd like to have another top 10 receiver, like we just got rid of, I think. But again, what I'm seeing here, Mike, No tears shed. This was by Sports Illustrated, an article this morning. No tears shed was the header. Steelers were drained of resources, patience while dealing with GP. And as much as you like him, you hate him, you're not going to be a Steeler fan because he's not on the team. You're happy he's not there to make stupid plays. At the end of the day, you know what? I don't think ultimately you're going to miss that. And you want to see it. I wanted to see it. But again, I think the bigger picture is what we want to think here. Think about here. I'm sorry. Tortilla. Tortilla says Will Howard beats out Drew Alar. Absolutely. No two ways about that. Ginger Joe goes on to say, is Tyler Boyd a free agent now? He is. Yep. As far as I know, Mike, these are the top free agents. About a half dozen of them I'm just going to give you. Number one is Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. Carson Wentz, number two. The guard, Brandon Schreff. Dalton Reiser, the guard. Matthew Judon, the outside linebacker. And Justin Simmons, the safety. Mike, that is your top half dozen free agents right now. And of course, Tyler Boyd is still in here as well, Mike. Anybody on this list you're interested in? Anybody on this list you see wearing a Steeler uniform? I wouldn't have a problem with Tyler Boyd, but it seems to me if Tyler Boyd was going to be a Steeler, this train would have already happened.
Yeah, it would already happen. The guys you listed, maybe Aaron Rodgers, but like receiver wise, you got your older guys like Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Nelson Aguilar. No. Then a couple younger guys and like Boyd, DJ Chark, and Gabe Davis. None of those really moved the needle for me.
If you had to bring in one of those guys you just named, like because you wanted to bring in a number two to have another guy on the other side, and I'm not sure that they're going to.
Yeah.
Which one of those names that you just said would be coming to Pittsburgh?
Before last year, I would have said Amari Cooper, but
let me give you a list of names, Mike. Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Nelson Aguilar, DJ Chark, Tyler Boyd, Gabe Davis. Any of those people?
Allen or Cooper, maybe, but I think they would want too much money. But so really none of them. I'd go try and make a trade for someone else, kind of like Romeo Dobbs or DJ Moore. That would be my move. But these guys don't move the needle for me.
Tortilla says Will wanted to go to Penn State and they rejected him, so he's going to eat out the Penn State QB for the Steelers. Corey says we're going to sign Wentz and run the island of misfit tours for 2025. And then Tortilla says I'd rather trade up and take Jeremiah Smith and pair him with Will Howard.
Is he able to come out next year, or does he have to wait one more year?
I'm not sure. On Smith?
Yeah, on Smith. I think he has to wait one more year. You have to be so many years outside of your graduating class. I think he has one more year to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Mike, Colin Coward, who always got something stupid to say. Colin Coward comes out and says the Steelers have no chance now of what we've done and what they've done. Steelers have no chance of beating Baltimore and or Cincinnati next season. Mike, do you agree? I think every game is going to be ugly down to the end, down to the fourth quarter. Heart attack. TJ Watt has to punch a ball loose. Not enough happened in his offseason for me to make me believe it's going to be any different than last season or the season before. Again, I hope I'm wrong. But, Mike, is this team going to be good enough in any capacity to come up with a win against Baltimore and or Cincinnati?
Yes. Yes, we find a way.
Okay.
We always find a way against those teams, no matter, especially Baltimore. You throw out the records when you play Baltimore. You know, it's a cliche, but it's true.
Yeah. And you can also get, Mike, you also have the idea that Lamar Jackson really only played one good game against the Pittsburgh Steelers in his career.
Yeah.
And it ended up being last year in the playoffs. So if you go by the odds, he doesn't generally play well against us, but Colin Coward does not believe that we will be beating the Ravens or the Bengals, Mike. Could be discouraging if you're a Steeler fan, but again, if it is that season that they're making it happen, if you will. Yeah.
Colin Coward's also the guy who said Josh Rosen was going to be a much better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he's out there, man.
Yeah. Good call, Tortilla. Rock Taylor, the new Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Lodiak, Chark or Cooper. If I had to pick one of those two.
That's Gabe Davis, even. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Gabe Davis since he got cut.
He was banged up a little in Jacksonville. Didn't have great numbers, but, once Trevor Lawrence went down, that whole team sucked. So was it him? Was it the team? He was up there in Buffalo. He had Josh Allen and who do you have next to him? Stephon Diggs. He had good guys next to him throwing the ball. So was he a product of that? And did we see the real Gabe Davis down in Jacksonville? I don't know. He's still young. He's still like 26 years old. Do a flyer in him, but I don't know.
Mike, let me talk about this is what a lot of people I think have been talking about for the past 28 hours, give or take. Mike, the wide receiver the Steelers have had problems with in the recent history, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start with the name. Let's start it right. Listen, now this guy wasn't a problem, but they turned it into a problem. So I'm just going to start with him just because.
Yeah.
Antonio Holmes.
Yeah.
Draft pick, Super Bowl MVP
mm-hmm.
the following year. And then the guy gets cut because of weed issues, which, again, I think at this day and age, 2025, people are going to laugh at that.
Yeah.
So let's move forward, Mike. Then there was Martavius Bryant, who was a wide receiver that ended up being a problem. There was Antonio Brown, who was a great wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Claypool, another Pittsburgh draft pick that ended up being a disaster. Juju is a name, Mike. Again, I didn't think there was many problems. I just didn't think he was that good.
Yeah,
I thought he was a 3 at best.
Yeah.
And teams want him as a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mike also, but nonetheless, he was a draft pick. Deontay Johnson. Now he's over on the Bizarro Steelers up in Northeast Ohio. George Pickens. So just right off the cut, Mike.
Yeah.
Santonio Holmes, Martavius Bryant, Antonio Brown, Chase Claypool, Juju, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. Could we be any worse at drafting wide receivers?
What?
I don't see anybody that's having to the extent the issue that we're having with the receivers, Mike.
But the thing is, AB was really good, got bad, we got rid of him. Santonio Holmes, Super Bowl MVP, had a problem, got rid of him. Chase Claypool showed potential, was a problem, got rid of him, flipped him for a second-round pick somehow. Thank you, Chicago. And then once they all left, all their production dropped. They all sucked once they left here, which is weird. There were problems here, for the most part, produced, but once they were gone, none of them saw a Pro Bowl. None of them saw the similar production
Is it
that
safe
they
to
had.
say, Mike, the Steelers have a type?
Yes.
I mean, come on. Nobody.
We take divas with emotional issues on top of being a diva, and that's how we select our wide receivers.
It looks like the Steelers draft on talent, not characters, what Andrew Joe's saying. Let me grab a couple of these messages here, Mike. Andrew Joe Smith would be awesome, but he's not eligible until 2027 after his junior year. Andrew Joe also goes on to say the Bears have been a few wide receivers. The Bears have a few wide receivers. I'm sorry about that. Maybe they trade DJ Moore to the Steelers. That's certainly something that I've seen pop up.
I love that.
People speculating and perhaps liking that idea. Also, got that one. Tortilla. We used to complain about the Sammy Coates or Marcus Wheaton, but now they don't seem so bad. I agree.
Right? Like Sammy or Marcus Wheaton would be a nice number 2 right now.
Like the good players we had, like Garrett Blunt and guys that we got rid of for weed.
Yeah.
Imagine a career that number 10 Santonio Holmes could have had
10 or even Martavius Bryant.
Martavius Bryant, dude. Yeah,
he was on he looked like he was going to be a superstar, but he kept failing drug tests, which is stupid. Kind of like Josh Gordon.
As long as it's just weed, I don't see the problem. I mean, as long as the guys aren't doing heroin, which I don't think anybody is doing. It's a pro athlete. I mean, I could be wrong, but come on, it's weed, right? People. Kenneth Jones says we're the best at picking talented receivers with character. We are.
Yeah. Nobody
does it better.
Yeah. Like the only receiver that left Pittsburgh and had a good career after it was Emmanuel Sanders. And he didn't leave due to character issues. I think it was because of a numbers game at that point.
Tortilla also goes on to say it's not just the wide receivers. Le'Veon Bell did the same shit. I'm sure we could go through a little for sure. Who let the fans love to get their head. Fans don't love their players like we do.
Like Ernie Holmes. Wasn't he like shooting a gun at helicopters back in the 70s when they were winning Super Bowls, going crazy, doing stupid stuff? Yeah.
Tortilla, and then when they leave, reality hits them hard. Mm-hmm. And even Le'Veon Bell, he was crying, and I want to be back. I want to come back.
I went to the Jets.
Why didn't you let me know that I was being stupid? And you know, so some crazy thing, Mike, is a lot of times these guys go to the Jets. Most of the time, people leave Pittsburgh for whatever reason. They fly to the Jets. I don't understand what that's all about. I think that's on their end. Come on, you just don't generally. The one good season out of 60 Super Bowls. So what's that tell you about the Jets organization?
Hey,
and it was Mike. It was a Super Bowl they weren't even supposed to win. That team wasn't better than the Colts, but they did win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the bizarro Steelers for a second. The Cleveland Browns makes you wonder what they think, because they were actually progressing better than we were.
Yes.
When they drafted Baker Mayfield, and that team was getting better, and that team got to the playoffs, and that team had a better record than the Steelers for the first time since 1987, and that team get to the playoffs and they beat the Steelers and knocked them out, and then they loved what we were doing so much, they said, I got to have me a Kenny Pickett on my squad. I got to have Deontay Johnson, that guy that had no touchdowns in a year. I like him. Guys, what about Devin Bush? He was so great out of Pittsburgh in Seattle. Let's get Devin Bush. Hey, the guy that the Steelers were supposed to get in Shedeur Sanders, but passed round after round after round, we got to have him. So whatever the Browns did, Mike, since that year when they beat us in the playoffs, with Baker Mayfield, for whatever reason, they liked what we were doing better, which is scary, and decided to jump ship from the idea that and the concepts and everything that got them to that point. And now they are sitting there with this bizarro Steelers team. Mike, you gotta love what goes on in Cleveland in the fall.
It's a beautiful thing up there in Cleveland. And they were so stupid. You had Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubbs, and what was it, Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
You were running the ball, hitting the play action, but then OBJ started crying that he needed the ball more. Then Baker, tears his throwing shoulder. And Stefanski goes, all right, I'm going to make OBJ happy. We're going to throw more. And you make Baker throw with a bum shoulder. Then that pisses OBJ off because he's not getting the ball. Then, they kick OBJ out. He goes, wins the Super Bowl. Then they let Baker Mayfield go after that season because Baker Mayfield was apparently the problem on that team. What the fuck? It was a beautiful thing. They self-destructed so quickly because you said they were on a good trajectory.
Huh.
They were on Myles Garrett was
decades for them.
And Myles Garrett and that defense was playing outstanding. That they had arguably the best offensive line or a top 5 offensive line. They were a few pieces away from being legit. I don't know Super Bowl contenders, but legit AFC.
Mike, that defense that you seen 2 years ago.
Holy shit!
I think that defense was good enough to be a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they remember they had to bring because of the injury. They had to bring in Flacco, and he won a few games and got him into the playoffs. But that was, you're right, that was them moving forward better than I've seen in decades.
When they beat us, my God, I thought this team was on the ascension.
Yeah,
because you and I were always big Baker fans.
I
thought he's a
gamer.
There.
Thing about him, the dude gets out and balls out, and he puts you in mind of a Brett Favre style, which is he's just a guy going out there doing what he knows and loves to do.
Yeah,
and he makes things happen. Again, I'm not comparing him and saying he's Brett Favre or whatever, but for what the Browns had, guys, they really effed up by taking the route that they took. Let's grab a couple of these messages. Mike talking Tortilla says like a toxic X, of course, talking about the receivers that leave here and find out that it was much better here than they initially thought. Corey Beaver says they must be customers of the Kevin Colbert Consulting Energy, Mike.
That's a golden one.
Mark Malone says they screwed themselves signing Deshaun.
The signing, the draft capital. Holy shit, that was just atrocious.
Tortilla, hey, we seen Larry O attack Mason and paid him. Should be a TV show called I Survived the AFC North. I like it. Either Joseph's Browns always taking our sloppy seconds. And that's where the problem began. They should have just continued to do what they were doing.
Even their owner is one of our sloppy seconds because he used to be a minority owner of the Steelers.
DJ and Pickett have pods on the speed dial. But guys, it was a jam-packed show today. A lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to go over, Mike. I do want to say happy birthday to Coach Bill Cowher.
Yeah.
Bill Cowher turned 68 today, guys. So like half of his life ago is when he joined. I think he was right about 35, 36 years old when he became the Steelers. So roughly a half of his life ago, since he took over at the Pittsburgh head coaching position, Mike. But I do want to say happy birthday to Coach Cowher, number 68. 68. Mike, we do have to move on, though. Unfortunately, I know that we could talk Steelers all day long, every day, but I do have to move on, Mike.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Derek Shelton has been relieved of his duties as Pirates manager.
Oh, that actually helped because I was going to ask in the next segment, should Derek Shelton be? Is he going to make it to the end of the week?
No,
they can't. All right, well, let me get there.
Sorry,
I do want to touch our other football team here in Pittsburgh, Mike. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They in the big tournament. I forget what it's called, but it's apparently the big tournament, and what it is.
Something Cup.
It's a World Cup. It's called World Cup. So here it is. The U.S. Open Cup.
Yes, that's right.
The U.S. Open game.
Lamar Hunt
Cup, Mike. The Lamar Hunt. You're right. In the Hounds, they weren't supposed to beat the New York City FC team. They upset the New York City FC team 1-0, and they advance, Mike, in this U.S. Open tournament game.
Yeah.
That is the Riverhounds. I will keep you posted on when the next game is going to be. I haven't heard yet. But Mike, also in hockey, NHL, not just the playoffs, but the Utah hockey team has a name.
Yeah.
The Utah hockey team that went tall, Mammoth, is the new NHL team out of Utah.
Yeah, and the logo still looks like it was on the NHL EA game.
It kind of looks like the Predators logo.
Yeah, it's like you have the two extinct animal logo, and both logos, I swear, were in the EA NHL hockey games where you make a creative franchise. You just pick the generic logo, and that's what the NHL did with those two teams.
Also, Pitt baseball, they get a nice upset over the number 12, West Virginia, in a backyard brawl. Always good to beat the West Virginia Mountaineers, especially when they come in ranked, just as they did back in a very, very popular game when the West Virginia Mountaineers were ranked, and they took a loss to the Pitt Panthers about 15 years ago. Love beating West Virginia. It's always lots of fun. Mike, I do want to jump back over into this. Wait. I can't do it. I can't do it, Mike.
You can't. You gotta.
Finally. The Pittsburgh Pirates swept again, Mike. Swept 2 times in a row. This time to a Cardinals team that's not that good. That extends their losing streak to 7 games. 7 games in a row they lost. Swept 2 series in a row, 2 straight series. Mike, they've lost 11 of their last 12 games. This team, Mike, they've been shut out 8 times this season. They've played 38 games. They've been shut out 8 times, which is obviously the most. And get this, Mike, and you did mention that they parted ways with Derek Shelton, correct?
Yes.
Mike, the team since Shelton and Charrington, 2020 was a shortened season. 2021, they went 61-101. 2022, 62-100. 2023, 76-86. 2024, 76-86. Mike, 2025 so far, 12-26. 24, I'm sorry. Mike, that team finished in last place every single season under the Charrington Shelton team. Derek Shelton has been released, is no longer the head coach, which I think was too long anyway to keep him.
Yeah.
But he is gone, Mike. Coach Shelton gone. And then my question was going to be, Mike, is he going to make it to the end of the week? But the answer we got already is no. Pirates do start a Mother's Day weekend series against the Braves tomorrow. It's a 3-game set. And then they do go off on the road to play, I think, about 6 or 9 games on the road after that. But game 1 of 3 against the Braves is tomorrow at 6:40. They got swept again over the weekend. The Cardinals beat them 1-0, or over the week. I'm sorry. On Tuesday, the Cardinals beat them 2-1. I'm sorry, and then 5-0 yesterday. Those were Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller starts, Mike. If again, those are games that you want to win.
Yeah.
With those 2 guys on the bump. And finally, Mike, this is really interesting. As of today, guys, as of today, the Pittsburgh Pirates all-time record is 10,851 and 10,843. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in danger of dropping under 500 for the first time, Mike, since August 1903.
Yep. Yeah,
the Pirates as an organization, look how far they were ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Because the past 33 years, as terrible as they've been, Mike, this is the first time since 1903 that they're in danger of dropping below 500 as a franchise. It's unbelievable, Mike, what's going on with this team. The usher, I did want to say there was no charges yet with the big fight that went down the other day against San Diego. The usher and the fan got into the fight. The fan spit on the usher. The usher beat the shit out of him. There's been no charges at the time, but the usher is suspended at the moment, which I think that they should take the asshole, out back and tar and feather that fucker. But again, the guy was at his job. I understand.
Yeah.
There's certain way you have to act at your job. But Mike, that is the story as of right now. The usher is suspended, and there's been no charges filed as of yet. Mike,
I allow that usher to whoop that guy's ass some more. The Buccos, yeah, we talked about that earlier in the year too, about their record, how close they were. I didn't think it would be this soon that they were close to falling under 500. Let's see what the new manager can do. Maybe he can right the ship. I have a feeling the new manager will keep the at least the same lineup in back-to-back days. If he does that, that will be a huge improvement. If he doesn't throw out a Sunday lineup every Sunday of just a bunch of no names, that will be an improvement there.
It's truly incredible what's going on, Mike, because again, the 33 years of terrible baseball, just now we were that far out ahead. And Mike, I got to be honest, once it snowballs and keeps going, it's going to take this team a long time to get back to that graces and be back to that stature. So enjoy the Pirates while you can, guys. They are literally 48, 51, 8 games, Mike, 8 games over 500 all time. Again, last time the Pirates were under 500, 1903. 1903. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumbyinjers.com. We have all of our links over there to find us on social media and whatnot. We got the merch store, the merchandise store over there as well. And the blog got a new one up about the George Pickens trade. So check it out at the2dumbyinjers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumbyinjers.com. That's www.the2dumbyinjers.com. A lot of cool things over there. Mike does, as he mentioned, puts up a fresh blog every week. A lot of great stuff and merchandise. Do go check out www.the2dumbyinjers.com. Let me get caught up on a couple of messages here, Mike, before we jump into the trivia of the day. Corey, I'm going to start right here where Corey says, I think they should have kept Baker. He's the only player to play the Ravens so hard that it made Lamar have to go and take a shit on game. In the game, of course, he meant Tortilla. Had the Steelers posted anything about Pickens, like a goodbye post or trade post? I haven't seen anything, Mike, from the Steelers officially yet. Have you?
Only thing I saw was the announcement. I think it was just an announcement that they've traded him, but no goodbye message.
No goodbye.
Nah.
Also, John says no problem. Began with the Watson deal. Everything else is just afterbirth. Andrew Joe's TJ Watt gave the peace sign to Pickens. He's like Nostradamus. Tortilla says Browns were getting scary with Baker. They could. I know
they could have been.
That just shows you how stupid they are.
And like
no surprise.
And their fan base was happy to get rid of Baker Mayfield. They thought he was the problem. He was the answer.
The city's the problem. Ryan will need to cut out a bong. You're right. I will. It is moving along very well, John. I don't know what the next step is, but it took 3 big steps, 2 or 3 big steps this week. Bigger steps than it's taken it all yet. So it is coming here in Pennsylvania. Burp in a bag, baby. You know what? I wish I would have thought of that. I would have definitely gotten that out to you, man. Tortilla, people won't think the hole is for bongs, John. Yeah, Joe. Well, if you hyperventilate, Ryan, you already have the bag. That's true. John goes on to say, TJ, good one. Weed is expensive, so he will need a side gig for sure. Hey, that's what I'm saying, man. This legal stuff it's pricey, but we will see, guys. And Finch says this Pirates team makes his penis ache. I don't know why, but everybody knows Finchy from the show.
It was excitement, anger, disgust.
Yeah. Oh, with that being said, guys, let's hop to the trivia. We had Derpy earlier. We got Finch today, man. I think Derpy's going to be on tomorrow. Maybe Finch as well. Maybe I got to talk to him later.
I'm about to put out an all points bulletin for Derpy. We have not seen him in over a week.
I seen him on a milk carton. He's all right, man.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. So put on your thinking caps, Mike. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here goes the question of the day. This is a Steelers trivia question. Here we go. We all know the three great Steeler coaches of all times: the Chuck Noll, the birthday boy Bill Cowher, and also Mike Tomlin, guys. But who, Mike? The question of the day: who was the coach right before Chuck Noll? I'm looking for the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers right before Chuck Noll. Is the question of the day. Mike, take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day right here on YouTube. Finch says he will be on tomorrow. Super. Again, guys, the question of the day is this: who was the Steelers head coach right before Chuck Noll? I could give you some hints, guys. It was 1966 to 1968 were the years that he coached. He coached to a total of an 11-28-3 record for the Steelers. Guys, feel free to put up your answers on the board if you have any guesses. The question of the day is this: who was the Steelers head coach just before Chuck Noll? Corey Beavers on the board says Bobby Parker. Bobby Parker, I think. Mike is who his pick is. Tortilla says Derpy's great grandfather. I'm not. He may have been hatched or made in a test tube or something. I don't know if he has grandparents, but we'll ask him tomorrow. Mike, I see Bobby Parker on the board. Question of the day: I want to know who was the head coach of the Steelers before they signed Chuck Noll back in 1969.
I'm going to copy Corey Beaver's homework and say, make it just a little bit different. I'm going to go with Buddy Parker.
Buddy Parker. Is this your final answer?
Yeah, final answer.
All right. I'm going to lock you in. I think Derpy looks like a smaller version of Alex Kozora. John says on the board. Mike, Buddy Parker is who you said. Bobby Parker is who Corey said. Give it just another minute on the board here. Guys, the question of the day is, who was the Steelers head coach just before Chuck Noll took over in 1969? Guys, the hint, right? Finch says the Steelers existed before Chuck Noll.
No, we were founded in 1933, laid dormant until 1969.
Like Derpy keeps sending me. We know Derpy. He's telling me that.
Derpy, if you were watching the show, you would know, or if you were on the show, you would know.
You would know that we just talked about what you're telling me. Anyway, he's trying to fill me in on the Derek Shelton news.
Oh,
Tortilla says I forgot his granddaddy sold hot dogs. Can't be him. Also, Corey Beaver says, "Oh, his name was Buddy." LOL. I knew it was a B name. Mike, so is that your final answer? John's saying Dick Shiner.
That's Ryan with the bag on his head.
Mike, so you're going to stick with Buddy?
I'm going to stick with Buddy.
All right, guys. So I'm locking you in. Final answer.
Final answer.
All right, locked in. Guys, the question of the day: who was the Steelers head coach right before Chuck Noll with 11-28-3 record? This was 1966 to 1968. Tortilla. That was my answer too. Bend over. Look, Finchy's saying that same thing. Like Derpy's blowing up his DM.
Yeah, mine too.
Dick Shiner, Buddy, Bob, Ben,
Muncha, McCucci.
The answer, of course, is, guys, who was the Steelers head coach before Chuck Noll? The answer, of course, was a B name, but it was Bill Austin. Coach Bill Austin, 2 years, 11-23-3. That might be 3 years, 66 to 68. Nonetheless, the correct answer, guys, is Bill Austin. Bill Austin. As Finn said, where's who even cares? Because before Chuck Noll, everything that we love about the Steelers is Chuck Noll and on.
Exactly.
1933 to 1968 was a complete disaster, but now you know, guys. Bill Austin was the guy right before. It was making me think, Mike, because no one ever thinks that question. You think Steelers? Oh, they got the big three. You know who the big three are.
Yeah.
But there you go. Bill Austin is the final answer, guys. Great job on that. Yeah,
real
Mike.
quick, Buddy Parker was a Pittsburgh Steeler head coach. I forget when though. I just looked it up. Oh, he coached for 8 seasons. Buddy Parker did.
What's the point on this?
Like Bobby Parker, Buddy Parker.
All right. It was Bill Austin, so
yeah. But I was like,
relax.
like Corey Beaver was on the right track.
All
and
right,
I just piggybacked off of it. Yeah.
Stop yelling at me. Derpy is a closet listener.
He's a closet something.
Corey says, "Shit, I think Parker was part owner at one point and sold the team. Who knows? Who knows what happened back in the day, man?
Yeah.
Again, from 1933 to 68. Mike, anything we do start getting ready to wrap things up for today, brother?
No, I had my late breaking news of Derek Shelton fired, so I did my good deed for the day. Oh, and a new pope has been elected too. A new pope, a new pirate.
A new pope has been elected since we've been on the air.
Yeah, I just said there's white smoke everywhere, and now
Jeez.
Yeah,
at least wait until they got the guy in the ground.
We got a new pope. We got a new pirate manager.
Things are happening, baby. We got a whole new Steeler. Again, 10 out of 22 starters, Mike, gone from last year's Steeler team. So Anita Parker, Anita Peter, John saying Anita Peter. I'm sorry. Corey says I wasn't even a swimmer yet. John, do stick around. We do have another song that we are going to debut today on the show to round it out. I think you're going to like this one. But Mike, let me start getting ready to wrap things up here. I do want to say this: if you're looking or going onto Skype, no longer are you going to be able to find it. Skype is gone.
Gone.
And you know why I think Skype really effed up? You just went through that rough time with 2020 when you could have really taken advantage. And when they could have been taking advantage, all you heard about was Zoom. All you heard about was this. All you heard about was that. Mike, you didn't hear about Skype. They didn't take advantage when they should have. I say good for them, Mike. You can't, again, you should have been able to catapult yourself into success after those 2-3 years with the virus and people being stuck in the house. But Zoom is now the way, and Skype, guys, no longer exists. So don't go looking for Skype or the app or anything. It's not there. Skype is gone.
Like, I didn't even know it was still around. And then I saw the news. I was like, oh, I thought they were already gone.
Yeah.
It was like the Mandela effect.
There you go. Tortilla says, "What's the new Pope stats? What's his 40 time?"
I don't know. The pick is in. Is
there a picture of him, Mike?
No, I haven't seen a picture. We just got the smoke. We got the ticker on the bottom. Mel Kiper's saying it should be Shedeur Sanders, but we don't know. We don't know. But Mel's ready to flip out again if Shedeur Sanders is not selected by the Cardinals here.
Sean says the new Pope is a Steeler fan. That'd be fantastic, guys. I do want to say
we need all the help we can get.
I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. Each and every one. We wouldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. I do want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show. And everybody at home or in the car or at work, wherever you may be listening or are going to be listening, thank you as well. We appreciate every one of you. We truly, honestly do. Besides for the Skype news, Mike, that was all I really had as my leftover extras at the end of the show. Anything else before we do take off? And again, we are going to debut. We had Derpy's song. We had Mike's song. We even had Aunt Peach's song. Today, we're going to debut my song. That's going to be what rounds out the show today. He has to pay for his sins on this earth. John is saying, talking of the Pope, I'm guessing. And if that was the case, maybe he would have to be a Browns fan. What's the equivalent of hell in the NFL? I would say being a Browns fan.
It'd be a Browns fan, yeah, because at least the lines are showing some competence.
Right. But I do want to say again, thank you so much, everybody. We hope you make it back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow to wrap up the week with a lot of different Pittsburgh sports going into the weekend, of course. Mike, the Hounds will be back at it. The Pirates starting that Brave series that they seem to get every year during Mother's Day weekend. I don't know what that's about,
Right.
but I just seem to pick that out every year. A lot of other things, Mike, and on top of staying on top of all the Steelers scoop moving forward. We got the draft. I'm sorry, the rookie camp starting tomorrow. We have the schedule coming out next week. We have a new alternative helmet being announced a little bit later, guys. So we have a lot of things going on. We'll stay on top of that. We're going to figure out what the hell's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Is this a throwaway season coming up, Mike? Whatever the case may be, it's going to be without George Pickens, of course, being traded to Dallas just yesterday. So, guys, we hope you join us back tomorrow at our regular time right here on the Two Dumb Yinzers. Mike, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I got nothing. I'm ready for the song. I don't know about you.
All right. Hope everybody's pumped up. Again, tomorrow, Finch will be on board, and Derpy's supposed to be on board. So hopefully we see both of them gentlemen tomorrow as well. We hope everybody is back with us for Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio. Myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers. I hope you enjoy the new song. This is my song, apparently from our in-house AI band. They came up with the great hits about Mike, about Derpy, about Aunt Peaches and Fanny, and even the theme song of the show. Guys, I hope you enjoy. Everybody have a great day. We hope to see everybody back first thing in the morning. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you then.
Yo, Ryan's in the booth, pulling up in all black. Hook nose so sharp, you could hang a hat rack. Sexy gray beard, got the wolves on alert. Dropping facts about Steelers while his co-host gets hurt. Call him Chief Hung Low, spitting out the truth. Burt mid-sentence, that's a signature move. Interrupt Mike, playing king in debate. Steelers knowledge dropping, yeah, he's never late. Every Sunday's a sermon, team colors he recites. Ryan's all-knowing, gridirons at night. Burp so loud it shakes the on-air throne. Yo, Mike, let me finish. And the show's his own. Got a playbook in his brain, encyclopedic spit. Mike tries to talk, but nah, Ryan won't quit. Hook nose, profile casting shadows on the set. The man burp swagger, no regrets, never sweat. Steelers stats pour in like water from a hydrant. Takes the mic like he's in Monday Night Tyson. Keith hung low, lady swooning at the beard. But the burps, oh man, that's what they feared. Call him Chief hung low, spitting out the truth. Burt mid-sentence, that's a signature move. Interrupt Mike, playing king in debate. Steelers knowledge dropping, yeah, he's never late. Where we multiple, right? Where we multiple, right? Where we multiple. Every Sunday's a sermon, team colors he recites. Ryan's all-knowing, gridirons at night. Burp so loud it shakes the on-air throne. Yo, Mike, let me finish. And the show's his own. Got a playbook in his brain, encyclopedic spit. Mike tries to talk, but nah, Ryan won't quit. Hook nose, profile casting shadows on the set. The man burp swagger, no regrets, never sweat. Steelers stats pour in like water from a hydrant. Takes the mic like he's in Monday Night Tyson. Chief hung low, lady swooning at the beard. But the burps, oh man, that's what they feared. Call him Chief hung low, spitting out the truth. Burt mid-sentence, that's a signature move. Interrupt Mike, playing king in debate. Steelers knowledge dropping, yeah, he's never late.